Hi there, this is Heather Warren, the lovely spouse partner of Ted Warren, the drummer extraordinaire. And we're at home board during the COVID lockdown, and we just had an idea to do some interviewing. I know nothing about music. I know even more less about drums. And I thought, wow, what a great way to know Ted, but also for all of you who aren't as experienced, shall we say, as some of his colleagues, we thought we would do an interview of just some interesting things about music, drums, Ted, and to see what comes up. So we can learn more from his phenomenally genius brain that baffles me many times when it comes to these issues and things. So I'm going to be the one asking questions that for some of you might feel are a bit amateur or maybe even profound. So we're going to see where this goes. Hi, Ted.
Hello, Heather.
And so, Ted, our topic for today is what is inspiring you these days? I know you're hardly out there doing gigs, and it has been challenging for many artist musotypes. But yeah, what is brewing in that brain of yours that is inspiring you related to music?
This is a very interesting time because online and all around, there is so much information flying at people. I think because unlike what normally happens with musicians, where they're trying to, play gigs and get gigs and be presentable at gigs and make sure they're playing other people's music properly and those sort of things, none of that's going on. So we're all in our particular laboratories cooking up new things, with the test tubes with all the dry ice coming out of it, all that stuff, and the beakers. And so, you know, um, it's almost, you could say, what isn't inspiring me lately? There's a bunch of live things that are going on that I've heard recently. Chick Corea has a live thing from, it looks like his music room every night. I just saw a great thing from an organization in Calgary that had pianist Peter Hum and guitarist Red Schwager both playing solo sets, which was amazing. I've also just started working on some things that I wanted to do because there's no agenda necessarily, because there's no gig at the end of it. So I started working with some spoken word things, and I've been enjoying that a bit. What else? What else is inspiring?
Well, let me ask further questions. Okay. So who is this Chick Corea, and why would that be so fascinating or interesting? And can you spell Chick Corea for those of us who don't know?
Sure. Chick is like, his first name is like a chick, a small chicken. So Chick. Korea, Corea. I should know the etymology of the name, but I don't. I know he's from Boston originally. He's a very visionary piano player. He played with Miles Davis's band and Stan Getz early on in his career, but he's had a very long career on his own. He's sort of a multiple threat as far as a great pianist, a great composer. He's a very good drummer. There's a thing online recently where he talks about a specific type of cymbal called a flat ride, which for all you drummer folks mean it doesn't have any bell, it doesn't have that raised part in the middle. So it's a very specific sounding cymbal. And he had a very famous recording with Roy Haynes, the great drummer, called Now He Sings, Now He Sobs, where it's the first really great recorded example of that type of cymbal, which is a great cymbal in terms of playing in a piano trio and things like that. So Chick Corea is like just a fountain of all sorts of knowledge, amongst other things. And it shows you what's going on in this time period, because he got his tour canceled. So he just started filming himself in his music room night by night, and you can see it for free. You can get to see his working method, so how he practices things, the sorts of things he's thinking about. It's a really, we're in an unprecedented time, because you get to see how someone like that operates, which I don't think would happen in any other time. And I don't think it would happen unless he wasn't working, and he probably just wanted to keep doing what he does. So this is a way of doing it.
Thank you. Well, it definitely makes me want to check out Chick Corea now because I've been hearing this name floating around and Ted being very excited, and he goes off to the room to watch Chick Corea, and I'm just like, huh, interesting. So thank you. Um, so there are a lot of things that are happening and that you're finding interesting. Now, when you were speaking about spoken word, what do you mean? Like, what's been inspiring you around spoken word and you and music and all that?
Sure. I think uh, one of the cool things about anybody reciting text, reciting lines from a play or a movie is that there are inflections and rhythms in our speech, but they're not the same as playing a musical piece. So suddenly, if you start applying pitches and rhythms to something we're saying, if I started playing along now with my speech, it's not the same as playing a tune. I didn't even do it properly. But that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. Lots of people have done this before. It's certainly not a new thing, but it's a new thing for me. And I think the cool part about the strange era we're in as musicians is it's time to experiment and do things maybe you don't normally do. That's not something that I would probably ever need to do on a gig in my whole life. I'm just doing it because it's interesting and it's doing something different. So. Yeah.
So you're going to pretty much be walking around the house whenever I'm talking and doing like clapping to my sound of my voice and the intonations and the rhythmic qualities of it. Is what you're telling me? Okay. So it's fascinating. So I know you just recorded something about with Planet of the Apes. So on the YouTube channel, you can check it out. Is there a title for it, or have you done that yet?
Yes. I called it Stinking Pause because YouTube's funny. I don't think so because Planet of the Apes is quite an old movie now. The first one is from 1968. So I don't think anybody posting it would be in trouble at this point. I think that sort of ship has sailed. But I didn't have any of the images from it. I just had the sound from it. So I was just part of the line that Charlton Heston says I'm playing along with is get your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape. So I just called it the Stinking Paws. Just in case, the YouTube bots would say, no, we don't want you posting that.
Very clever. Good marketing.
Thanks.
So yeah, check it out of what Ted's sort of doing. It's really fun, and he's going to be doing with other pieces as well. So stay tuned to his YouTube channel on that one. So what I'm hearing too is that there's a piece around people are feeling more sort of artistic license now because there isn't the pressure of having to perform or gigs, and there can be that experimental quality that can come in. That really is the essence of music or art or just creating for creating's sake without having to worry about the dollar value or and staying within even going outside of genres, right? So even for anyone, like I've been living with Ted and he's also been going out to the car to play the harmonica, and because it would be too loud in our space and I don't know if I would want that, but so there's been sort of a dabbling in the blues genre and watching you do, which I'm very excited about too. And I can have my own little lay person's perspective about, genres that might be coming up. And I'm very lay person when it comes to music. Good at art, good at writing. But, I can see that the blues might be a genre or the blues elements might be a genre that might come up because of workers' issues and depression times and economic issues. So it'll be quite exciting. I'm actually encouraging Ted to do more blues stuff. So we'll see if he follows his dear wife's directions. A happy wife is a happy life. We'll just remind him that. So yeah, any thoughts about that with genres and with the harmonica?
So I think this is an interesting part of one of the things that's happened as we're all doing these concerts from home. I just did one a few nights ago that Music Together put on and did something on Instagram, which was really fun. is we're all doing things we don't normally do. I don't usually play solo. Drummers generally don't play solo gigs. That's a very often an occurrence. I'm sure many drummers go through their whole lives and have a very varied and fun career without ever playing solo. So, I mean, I've done it a handful of times before, but all I'm saying is I think two people get into interesting things because of that. One of the ways I wanted to create variety sonically with what I was doing was, yeah, playing some blues harp, playing some piano. Now, the funny thing you can do when you spend a lot of time to say one instrument and less time with other instruments is, you play an instrument for a long time and play music for a long time. You start to know a lot about music. You may not know as much about every instrument's conduit to the music. So I don't claim to be any great shakes as a blues harp player, but in a way that can be cool because then you can get this combination of a very professional sounding drummer with a very amateurish sounding harp player, or a less professional sounding piano player. You still have the concept that you have of music, but you're not going to be able to do what a normal person who plays that instrument all the time does. If I got a trombone, I could probably write some piece that calls for an amateur, terrible sounding trombone player, and I could use that. But it's not like then I could play a beautiful piece with a brass quintet and play trombone. It would just sound awful. It would just sound bad. But sometimes you can use that sort of naivete on another instrument to create an effect. When my daughter was quite young, there was a period of time when she was interested in playing violin. So of course, the Suzuki thing came up as a possibility, and my daughter's mother said, "Well, that's music, that's your thing. If there's the Suzuki thing, you can go with her to the classes, and you can play violin with her." And of course, there was two thoughts that went in my head. The first one was like, "Oh no, I'm going to be sawing away. It's going to be awful." But then the second thing was, I should do something where it calls for like a really crappy violin player, and I can use my own playing in this. So I think that's what people tend to do with music is you try to use the sonic capabilities of whatever you're doing to your own ends. I think, and as a person who's studied very specific things with some things in music, I've studied a lot about the drums, both on my own and with teachers and through institutions. I've studied some piano. I've studied no harp. I've studied even less vocalizing, and I like to use all those. So I think it's also cool because you get a combination of some of the book smartishness or the slickness that comes with playing something for a long time, with sort of that amateur sort of giddiness that comes with playing other instruments you don't know very well. I don't think I would have realized that when I was younger, but I'm actually very into that now. I'd like to play more instruments if I could find the time.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's cool. We have to have a little gallery. It sort of reminds me of how, just from a visual arts perspective, how Picasso's career went from being super like expertise and developing his skill and all of this to becoming more playful and more sort of amateurish and childlike, and that the sort of the more you need to you learn the techniques, then you unlearn and are open up to working with different abilities, right? And that's what I admire the most about you is your capacity to be able to, like, yes, you're strong in the drums, but you're curious, you're learning piano, you wanting to learn harp, like that playful experimentation, improvisation, all of that, which is really cool. And my God, you have a daughter with another woman? I knew that. Anyways, we'll bring in our household problems into the Thank you, Ted. This is very enlightening. I'm already feeling excited about new instruments coming into our home, as long as he plays them in the car. And
the tube is coming.
Oh yeah, good. Today. Oh yeah, and bring the saxophone. Yeah, I bugged my mom when I was a kid with the saxophone, so I know how hard that is. But I think drums would have been harder to live with. So we give lots of gratitude to his mom for tolerating it. Yay! So please tune in. Just I don't know how often we're doing this, but we're going to do little interview pieces. Hopefully, it was a bit entertaining for you, and And for those who follow Ted like Ted and like to hear what's going on in that noggin, we're going to do other things more specific, right? So talking about things like his favorites of Miles Davis and why, and the Beatles, and we're just going to go into different Stevie Wonder and what makes him cry and all of these things. So
we're going to find out what makes Stevie Wonder cry.
Yes.
Okay.
What makes Ted cry when he hears Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder might cry if he heard me play harp, because he's a harp player.
Right. He'd be like, oh my God, give this boy some lessons. Awesome. So keep tuning in at Home with Ted, and we'll just keep going with all of this. We never know where it's going to end.
Okay.